Meanwhile, okay, let's go to the West Coast game here. UCLA is at Utah. Big Pac-12 game because all kinds of stuff going on here in the Pac-12, and in this case, the Pac-12 South. You got UCLA and Colorado. Or I should say Utah is playing UCLA and Colorado at home for the next 2 weeks, but they do need help if they want to get to the Pac-12 title game. Part of that help is they got to hope that USC, which controls its own destiny, USC loses to Oregon or UCLA. That's the big rivalry one coming up. But here they have to take care of business first. They're at home against UCLA, 2.5 point favorite, and both these teams with so much on the line are coming off losses, which is a bit of a surprise. Last year's game, it would be revenge for UCLA. They were a 13-point favorite, lost the game straight up at home 30-28. UCLA 7-3 now straight up. And they, for the last 3 years, they've been top 10 in the nation in penalties. So as good, talented as they've been a very sloppy team. They come off a sloppy game against Washington State, 31-27 defeat. They had plenty of yards, 554, but boy, were they terrible in the red zone. Only one touchdown and 5 trips to the red zone. In fact, 13 penalties, too. Just mentioned how sloppy they've been over the last 3 years. They were last week, too. So, Sean, here's a team that needs to win heading out on the road, but they couldn't get it at home. How do they match up against Utah?
Yeah, this game is in Salt Lake City. It's a Pac-12, obviously, South Division game, and Utah actually opened 1 on the overnight last night and went up to 2.5, so the money's going on the favorite here. So, same thing here. Utah ranked now number 18, and it depends on what poll you look at, but at the AP, UCLA is not even ranked in the top 25. I saw one poll that had them ranked at 23. But Utah, the higher-ranked team, 2.5 point home favorite. This game will go at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Fox will cover the game. The weather in Salt Lake City, good. It's cloudy, be in the low 40s. It'll be good weather in Salt Lake City. Yeah, and you're right. Both of these teams, in fact, both of these teams starting to fall apart here. Let's look at the UCLA. They just lost straight up as a home favorite. You said 13.5. Actually, it was 13.5, but the line, they took the dog in that game, and it came down. It closed at 10.5 to Washington State, who won it late, and 31-27. They're now 7-3 straight up, just 4-6 against the house, so they don't cover numbers. They travel to Southern Cal next week, which is their big rivalry game. They'll do that. And we've talked about this freshman senior quarterback thing, right? Here's what's his name? Josh Rosen. Has a nickname. What is it?
Chosen.
Yeah, thank you. Chosen Rosen. He has decent numbers, 18 touchdown passes, 7 interceptions, and they got 2 running backs that can carry the ball. And they are 3-1 against the number on the road. They seem to play better out of the suitcase than do at home. They just lost, as we said, straight up as a home favorite of 13. And how about last year? Home favorite of 13, 30-28 to Utah. So they do have some revenge here. But we're talking a freshman quarterback. We've been hounding about this, but we've been right on target with these particular games that come up where these great, talented quarterbacks, but they're freshmen or sophomore, and they just can't step up in these big games. Now we're talking about on the road. Okay, Utah. Now, one thing about the Southern Cal thing, Utah has a better record. They're 8-2 straight up. You're right, they did lose to Southern Cal. They're 8-2 straight up, 5-5 against the number. That's not great. But the wheels have really fallen off lately. Utah started out 6-0 straight up, and now 2-2 straight up lately, and just 1-3 against the number, which is all we care about here in town. And they just lost straight up at Arizona in overtime, 37-30. Did that as a road favorite of 6. So it didn't look good. They host Colorado next week, but it doesn't matter. They're going to be a big favorite with Colorado. They need to win this game right here. They got a divisional loss to Southern Cal, as I said. So that, they can't afford tiebreakers here. So they need to win here to have a better record. Now let's look at the quarterback thing. Senior quarterback, Travis Wilson, not the greatest numbers in the world, but he is a senior. He's experienced, 12 touchdown passes, 9 interceptions. So Utah cannot play from behind. They don't have the kind of firepower. They got to stay even or stay ahead of this team. They basically run the ball with this great, maybe the most underrated running back in the country, this guy Booker.
He is.
Now, this team at home is 5-0 straight up, but just 2-3 against the number. And all 5 of their home games, by the way, Utah, all under the total by an average of 7 points a game. Who wants it more? I guess it'd be the thing. But then, what do I always say when we get these tough games? Who has the edge? I know that Rosen is an incredible talent, but he's on the road. He's a freshman. We've talked about this before. It's been a moneymaker for us so far. I'm going to go with the senior quarterback at home. It's a short number. I think Utah wins it. It probably won't be by much, 7, maybe even 10. But I think at home they'll finally get it done.
Good angle.
I'd lay the points in this game. It's a short number, 2.5. It might get to 3, but I think it'll stay around 2.5.
You're
So.
taking the senior over the
Take
freshman.
the senior
on the
over the
road.
freshman. It's been good this year.
Not a bad simple angle either. The Utah team 8-2 overall, 5-0 under the total at home. They're on a 6-2. Actually, they're on a 2-5 ATS run at home. But here's a situational spot. Actually favors the Utes because they're coming home now after playing 3 of the last 4 games on the road, and it was a tough one on Saturday, 37-30 double overtime loss at Arizona. The defense couldn't muster any sacks. They gave up a ton of yards, which is not their game, and that's part of the concern with Utah right now is some of the injuries on the defense. 4 starters missed that Arizona game in the secondary. Porter and Carter didn't play, and as a result, Arizona changed a little bit of its offensive strategy and decided to pick on the Utes secondary. Got to believe UCLA is going to be looking at the game film saying, well, let's try that too if they're hurting back there. Anyway, the odds makers are looking at this as a close one. So, Jeff, how do you see it?
Yeah, I agree with Sean. I'm going with Utah with this one. I know UCLA can still win the Pac-12 South, but right now, UCLA fans go through this just about every year. They get their high hopes.
Get their heart broke.
And then the UCLA loses these games they should win in the middle of the season, and then they just hope they beat SC and make it a successful season. That's pretty
Get
much
a decent bowl.
Yeah, Jim Moore is the best coach they've had since Terry Donahue, but still, it's been a pattern at UCLA for many years now, and that's the way it is now. They should never have lost that game against Washington State. Cougars went 75 yards and 109. Josh Rosen had a good game, 33-57, 340 yards. He also rushed for 70 yards. But the Bruins had 13 penalties that game, including 6 false starts. And
no excuse for that.
No excuse for that. I know they've had a lot of injuries this year, some devastating injuries, but still every team it does, and there's just no excuse for playing that without that no discipline like that. So Utah they had that terrible game against SC when Travis Wilson kept throwing to the wrong team, but
colorblind.
But he was sacked 4 times on Saturday and then that loss. He was 20 of 31 with an interception, 219 yards, 2 TDs. Utah's had some big wins this year. They beat Michigan, they won at Oregon, at Washington, and now they get this game at home. So I'm gonna go with Utah.
All right. Well, this is a big game for both teams, and big games can mean great defense on both sides of the ball with so much at stake. We already talked about Utes 5-0, 5-1 run under the total at home, and they will be getting healthier on defense for this week. And then there's a concern about UCLA. They do have defensive talent, but that offense last week, 5 trips to the red zone, 1 touchdown. They had to settle for 4 field goals. Can't get that done. That's not going to get it done in these big games. And then you get this Utah offense that they love ball control with Devontae Booker. He's a two-way threat out of the backfield, but they play a physical defense.
Greatest running back that nobody knows about.
Absolutely.
He's very good.
Yeah, somebody in the NFL.
And he's not big. He just doesn't quit. He doesn't go down. So.
Yeah, he's a senior, too, like a lot of guys on this team. When UCLA goes on the road, 11-5 run under the total. And the Utah defense, when they face a team with a winning record, 18-7-1 under the total. So I will look at a defensive battle with so much at stake here. All right, let's tell you about what we have for the week. Jeff, you're off another high roller blockbuster release, 35-12 run with these. That was the Kansas City Chiefs on Sunday.
Never a doubt.
Yeah, you didn't even need the points. The good thing you didn't have a favorite. Congratulations. How can folks get those for this week?
Yeah, I had a great one. I was 6-2 for the weekend. I had my 20-star play on Saturday was Nebraska. I had the best bet in North Carolina, and I went with Alabama over Mississippi State. And Sunday I had a consensus play, 20-star play with the Steelers, along with that blockbuster with the Chiefs. And I topped it off the weekend with a winner with the Arizona Cardinals Sunday night. So call the number on your screen, go to JimFleisch.com, and you can get college football, NFL, NBA, and college basketball. Just go to JimFleisch.com and call the number on your screen.
Okay, and did you send a text to Peyton Manning and say, I want you to have a terrible game because I've got you?
I didn't need to. I figured he would anyway. So.
He's got no reason to play anymore after this year, but I get the feeling he will, and he's risking some serious injury. Why would Denver want him back anyway? It's over. They've had them. What is he? Is he 40? He's got to be 40 by now.
Late 30s, yeah.
Yeah,
but the biggest factor in that game, Andy Reid has a tremendous record coming off a bye, and that was one of the main factors in that game.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, plus the weather getting colder there in Denver. I have
Yeah.
to wonder if that's going to make him even worse, if that's possible. But
I wouldn't take the chance. I mean, he's got more money than God. Why would he play?
All these commercials he does, he must.
Yeah, I mean, he sells
Pizza
pizza for
commercials.
more money than most of us will ever make in 20 years, for crying out
All
loud.
right, Sean, do you have a best bet for the?
Believe it or not, in college football, I do have a big road favorite, Louisiana Tech minus 23. That's my best play.
Okay, well, I know you had Arkansas State on
Oh,
Saturday.
big. That was easy.
59-21, yeah, and
Yeah,
Jim
that
Feist
was
had
great.
that as well as his college football
Yeah.
game of the year. He's got his rivalry game of the year coming up this weekend, and you can get that at jimfeist.com or just call 1-855-846-7426. My best bet on the show will be this Utah-UCLA game under the total. All right, that'll do it for the college football version of Proline. Good luck with the games, everyone, from Las Vegas. We'll see you next week.